All right, so 45 Lampkin Lane. We're back this week. I think it's episode 6. We have 5 with Chris Duran. And first, I want to send a shout out to Chris Duran. He sent me a message after the fact. The guy that played Michael Myers in Halloween H2O. He sent me a message, wished us all well, said he hope we enjoyed it, which we did, and thank you to him. Also, shout out to the Detroit 313 live show. My boy Rel over there, Terrell Foster, he posted a picture of my masks, and I highly appreciate that. But, as always, we got to have a show for you tonight, and that's what I plan to do. I got my man Curtis Williams up in the building tonight, and he's a personal trainer. And I've been saying, that's why I want him to tell you why, personal training is going to save your life. So we got him here tonight, and should be a good show. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, what's going on, man? First off, thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate you reaching out and asking me to come talk about why, health and fitness is so important. But yeah, I'm Curtis Williams. I've been training for roughly 5 years, a little over 5 years. It's been a great ride, man.
Now let me start by Okay, so everybody on the show, people that really listen, there is really solid 60 listeners, but whatever, we're gonna expand it. Don't even matter. We're having so much fun. We don't care about how much people we got. But so I'm walking downtown because I ain't got the car and shit, and I was bugging, dude, because I'm like, I need a guest. And then I see this man. He's like, hey, yo. And I look around. It's unmistakable because I've known this man for a long time. He's came up a long ways, man. And I turn around, and it's Curtis. And I'm like, yo. And, it's the middle of traffic, so he's got to go somewhere. I got to do my thing. But long story short, I keep walking. I'm like, that's the next guest. And not for nothing, but it's a really interesting story that he comes with because, I grew up with this dude, and seeing where we was at a long time ago to where both of us, but especially him for the episode, is at now is very interesting. So I actually got... All right, so let's first start off because Curtis, that's his name, man. You know what? Because I know him personally, but this man right here. So him and I did music and shit like that, and you really were amazing. And I think really, if you wanted to, that could have been what you wanted to do. But I'm gonna stop yapping, and I want to ask you, what was the point where you was like, you know what, I could probably do something with music, but this training thing is really something that I could get into?
I'd have to say it was probably when real life hits, right? Like, yeah. I was probably 18 going on 19, and I had obviously graduated, and I tried to move to Cali for a little bit. That's and I was there for like 4 months, and it didn't really work out as planned. I had like people trying to help me get on my feet and give me a place to stay. Yeah. Couldn't end up staying there. Yeah. So I had to come back, and when I came back, I had somewhere to go, but I knew it wasn't going to last long. And it was like, all right, time to pay bills and become a man and do all this shit, right? Because I wasn't going to college. I wasn't into school at the time. I was a knucklehead, and I needed to take care of myself. So I just started working full time. That's really was the game changer for me. And once I started doing that, the music, unfortunately, was just less and less because it wasn't really generating any income for me at the time. And I know the whole thing is like, you work hard enough, you believe in yourself, you got a dream, you can do it. And I 100% stand by that. Right. But for me, it was like long-term versus short-term, and I wasn't willing to live a subpar life to pursue something that was a maybe. And I decided, like, I'm going to do something that I know I can knock out of the park and really get my shit together, and then kind of go from there.
Yeah, so that'd be like me being like, you know what, forget this fire department stuff. I'm just going to stick to the masks, and it's not a full time, but it's like a dream and all that. So you want to believe, and you making money here and there. Because, dog, I was at a thing where you performed, and I'm not going to obviously say who it was, but somebody in the crew, whatever it happens, they forgot their lines, whatever. But, like, you were on fire. And I was like, dude, this dude could, if he wanted to, wow. And the whole club was going crazy. You weren't even headlining, nothing like that, but it was like, you know, and then I got fired the next day.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was a lot of fun. I remember that. Like, there's only been a handful of times we performed. It wasn't anything crazy, but for like...
That was crazy. I don't care what you say. That was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. It was a fun time.
You ain't going to talk yourself up, but that was great.
Yeah, and the crowd...
You did great.
The crowd really was into it, too. So that was a lot of fun.
And Riz wouldn't give me no motherfucking wings. He had like 10.
Yeah.
Whatever, though. Keep going.
You know that man's greedy, though. Nah.
He Riz the man.
Yeah, no, but it was fun, though. And honestly, I miss music, and it was a great time. But, like, it just turned into something that, like, I'm still all about hip-hop. I'm all about the music scene. It's just... I'm just not making it as much anymore. But I mean, I'll still like freestyle by myself sometimes, like you know, just to have fun.
Would you ever just get on like a track ever? Like,
yeah, I'd say yeah.
I got another question for you too right after.
What's up?
Okay, so you and I did a song, and you was like, "I'm gonna put it on my mixtape. I'm gonna put it on my mixtape." I'm like, "Yo, let's just put this out." You're like, "I'm gonna put it on my mixtape. Put it on my mixtape." I have that song in the email. No one's ever heard that. I don't know if the mixtape ever went through, but...
Nah, it didn't.
But...
Yeah, no, the mixtape didn't go through because, again, it was just... That was, I feel like, around the time where it just started to
transitioning,
slow down more and more. Yeah, so there was that transition period, but nah, that never actually fully came to fruition. So, I mean, I'd be down to do whatever with that.
Yeah. We could release it sometime. It was a track for girls. I was on it. CJ was on it. I thought it was amazing. That's why I was like, I want to get it out so bad.
Yeah.
But anyways, music is great and all that, but... CJ's doing bigger things right now, and what did I want to ask you? Okay, so you're at a high level right now. Okay, so I get a lot of hate since I'm good at mask making and stuff like that. Do personal trainers go through that? Like, yo, this dude, I was training with him and he broke my leg. And it's like, you know, you turned around for 2 seconds and he's like, I'm going to do 2,000 pounds, you know, with my legs because my trainer's right here. I want to show off, you know, not that extreme.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be like immature with it or nothing like that. But does things like that happen? Like, do you get hate ever?
Not really. I mean, it all depends, right? So, like, just like anything, the better you, like you said, the better you are at something, the more people tend to envy a little bit, right? And that's anything you do, right?
Exactly,
like there's not much, there's not much in this world that you're gonna be like really, really great at something, and you're not gonna have people like kind of jealous a little bit, right? But with that being said, I'd say any of that really kind of comes low key for the most part from other trainers. It's not really clients and stuff, right? Like, clients are great. They love you. They show a lot of appreciation. Like, shout out to all my clients. I love you guys, and they're like,
I see
they're
the
amazing.
People.
Right?
Yeah, I see the people that write on you. They look like amazing people.
Yeah, they're amazing. They show a lot of love. It's usually other trainers that like, and I don't necessarily know what it is. I'd say I can only speak from my perspective, right? But coming from my perspective, every so often I catch myself comparing like, can I lift as much as that person? Do I look as good as that person? And so on and so forth, right? And that's like, that's just me being humble because it is what it is. Like, I don't think anybody can ever like say that they never go through something like that or feel that way. And
right.
Like, and that's okay if you do. You're human. Like, my thing is like, okay, I'm just trying to acknowledge it, right? So like, I never want to, if I see someone doing something in the gym, unless I know it's gonna like kill them, like really hurt them, I'm always like, okay, there may be a purpose, there may be a reason. I used to be like, that's stupid, right? Like, why would they do that? And like, now I'm just like, well, there's got to be something behind it, because I know how I train. It's like, I'm always progressively building towards something. And so I try to give everybody else the benefit of the doubt. And I feel like the only time you get a little bit of hate is when people are feeling like, you know, you are maybe better than them. Maybe they're taking it like they think that on some level I'm kind of, and they
also take it as a challenge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's what was I looking for? My bad. They take it as a challenge, and like you said, with anything, you can't like do anything without somebody hating for some reason, though. So you got all these customers and all this. Is there like you know, in every genre, every hobby, every profession, even in the fire department, celebrities to us. That's all right. Now this thing, hopefully. All right. In the fire department, celebrities to us is the FDNY, New York City firefighters. If you meet one of them, it's like meeting a celebrity. And I know that there's big personal trainers out there. Oh, I train this and this celebrity. Is there big personal trainers out there that are on like a celebrity status that all like you guys are like, yo, that dude is?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can go all the way back to like the original OGs. For all you who don't know what that is, original gangsters. But
yeah,
no, but like Mike Boyle is just like, if you're a trainer and you're doing your thing and you don't know who Mike Boyle is, then you gotta sit down and look up some stuff, right? Like Mike Boyle. There's oh my god, there's
so you wouldn't look at pioneers like, oh, Richard Simmons, he was one of them.
Not so much, right? Like for us, like there's a big personal training coaching summit called Perform Better, and there's like a ton of speakers who go there that are phenomenal. They do a really good job.
Yeah.
Alwyn Cosgrove and his wife and Mike Boyle and oh my god, I can't believe it's slipping my mind what this.
Well, if you want to look some people up real quick.
Yeah, I mean,
I got something I want to ask you too.
Yeah, who was I thinking that I can't believe I'm even forgetting this. Oh, Dan John. Jesus, yeah, that was bad. No, but Dan John, I mean, has been doing it forever. There's like then Cressy Sports Performance, then Tony Gentlecore. I mean, like there's a ton of dudes, but for us at least, like it's not so much like, oh, who do you train? Do you train like a celebrity or so on and so forth? And like that's what makes you special. It's more of the guys who are bringing like the education to the game and really teaching us young coaches how to be amazing. Because like I said earlier, I'm only about like a little over 5 years into the coaching, and they say
that's
like
still a long time.
Yeah, but they say anything that you do to be like, you know, a master at it or an expert, it's like 10,000 hours of work, right? And like I added it up, and I'm probably roughly at like 6,000 hours, even with like 5 years, right? So like I still got plenty to learn, and we look up to the people who want to teach us, who want to like help us grow and get better, and not only just like the science of like what your intrinsic muscles are doing, whether it's like your whether it's like your deep core. I don't want to like get into like a ton of muscles and just confuse the shit out of people, whether it's like your deep core or like how your glutes talking to your left lat and your body works and sling system, but also like how to coach, right? Because that's like, at least for me, the most valuable part. Like, how do you connect with another human being and help them be better? Because I can give you all the knowledge in the world, but if we don't have a good relationship, or I can't like deliver it to you the way you need it to be delivered, it's not gonna really do anything.
I can picture some trainers being stiff, like, we got to do it this way, and they're not willing to have maybe personal conversations because they're business. But one thing I wanted to ask is, what is some things that people should watch out for in a fake trainer? Like, is there guys out there that are making money that shouldn't be, like trainers that are like, I want to say fake, but like, damn dog, you don't really know what you're doing, so you shouldn't be charging people for that. Because there's people in the mask business. They'll do these masks, they'll do rehauls. They don't make the mask, but they'll repaint it and shit. They don't even change the hair because they bought it from somewhere. And then they sell them for hundreds of dollars. And that shit you got to watch out for.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely right. There's a lot of that with the training too. Got to be careful. Unfortunately, there's a ton of fads and there's a ton of gimmicky things out there to attract people and get people excited and try to get them to buy into something. And the whole like high intensity training is like really, really big right now. And not to knock it, I do it sometimes and it has its place. But people don't really, or I should say, not all trainers really understand like the holistic approach, the entire thing, 360 degrees,
Yeah.
And they just focus on one thing that they think people want to get them hyped and in the door, and then they're not really taking care of them the way they should. There's a lot. I mean, Instagram's a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's like 6-pack abs and 8 weeks, and it's like that's.
Have you ever saved someone like, yo, probably shouldn't. That guy doesn't really know what he's doing.
I mean, I talk to people all the time, and it's again.
That's not to knock anybody.
Yeah, right. Like
you don't want to knock someone else's hustle, but at the same time, you're a good dude. You're one of the best dudes I ever damn met. You've had my back so many goddamn times. You're a really good person, good hearted and shit like that. So, I know you. If you see a situation where you think somebody might get hurt, that's at that point not knocking somebody's hustle. That's protecting somebody. Yeah. And that's the type of, I mean, we're getting into little nitty gritty and shit like that, but that's what was kind of what I was getting at, was like, when you see something unsafe, I've seen in the fire department, dudes who've been doing it a long time. I'm like, yo, you can't do that, dude. I don't care what corners you cutting. That's going to get somebody hurt. So because I don't know the atmosphere you're in. When you're a personal, I know I'm jumping from everywhere, but when you're a personal trainer, do you have a specific spot that's like, everybody in there, or are you training people where there is people around that could be doing something?
So right now I'm working in a studio. So like I have a specific team of coaches that I work with. There's 6 of us. We all kind of train the same way. We're trying to be on the exact same page, so it's unified. Yeah. And we're building a community as best we can, and really trying to kind of focus on like in precision nutrition, which is one of like the gold standards of training. It's they call it like awesomeness based coaching, or like client centered coaching, where it's like it's all about them. That's our number one goal. I'm not I work out specifically in an environment where there's a lot of other trainers, and I watch them do some relatively questionable things, but going back to what I said earlier, it was all about like there's got to be a reason for that. I don't ever judge anyone, and I remember where I was when I first started, right? So you have to remember that too. It's like you're constantly learning to get better, and I'm always going to seminars and different things throughout the entire year to educate. So
that's very true.
Each year I'm learning more, and I'm like, okay, I feel better about my craft. I can add this, I can do this. But again, it all boils right back down to like your relationship with people. And to go back to your other question about like, do I ever save people from that stuff? I don't ever want anyone to feel like I'm pushing them in a certain direction.
Yeah.
So
nobody does.
So,
I feel you.
Yeah. So I don't force anything, or I'm like, you can't mess with that guy. You gotta stay away. I'll just like give them my kind of 2 cents if it's really required, right? Yeah. Like if there's something that I really feel is gonna be detrimental for someone, I'll give them my 2 cents. And my 2 cents is really just education based.
Exactly. Yeah. That's just your opinion. No one can fault you for that.
Yeah, and it's really just education based. Like I'll be like, here's some articles, here's some studies, or whatever you need to prove this point is actually true, so you don't fall down that rabbit hole, right? And so they decide whether they want to still go that direction or not. And that's totally up to them, because if they do, like, there's nothing wrong with making that decision. It's all your own choice at the end of the day. I can't be mad at them for deciding, like, they are excited about the new hot thing,
So, all right, I feel that. Do you have to sometimes, not only, because I got to do this on my job, do you sometimes have to not only play personal trainer and teach people how to do all this working out and all that stuff, and then at the same time you got to play psychiatrist because they're coming at you and being like, maybe they have, I don't know, body dysmorphia, like they see themselves as, and they look good too. Most of the people look good that have body dysmorphia. They look good. And so do you have to play psychiatrist sometimes with people in that scenario?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say
that's a dramatic.
Yeah.
You have to help people and talk to them.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of sessions where someone will pay to work with me for an hour. There's been times where we just sit in the office for an hour and we just talk. And
you got an office?
It's not my office, but it's our shared office, right? So like everybody.
But come in the office and.
Yeah, exactly.
That's still.
Yeah. So
that's just amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you. We keep going.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. But yeah, we'll get them in the office and like we'll talk to them about all types of stuff. Sometimes it's just on the floor, right? Like in the office is more if it's like there. I mean, you
personal.
You remember like my number one thing I keep saying is the relationships, right? And like I've gotten so close with so many clients that like I know a lot, and I don't want to put anyone's business out there, but like,
oh, of course, yeah.
As far as just different things with different people, whether it's like guys or girls being unhappy with their marriages long term, or there's all types of stuff, right? And then next thing you know, you end up talking a decent amount about that, and like you got to kind of skirt the line where it's like, okay, I don't want to get too deep into this. Like, we still have a job to do, per se. I don't want to make it seem like all I care about is you losing weight and pushing weight, right? But at the same time, I also don't want you to feel like all we're talking about is the emotional stuff and getting too focused on that.
Yeah, because you're a hard-ass dude.
But it's not even that. It's just like...
No, I know, but I'm saying...
Sometimes there's been...
You have a hard mentality where it's like, we need to... be strong about this stuff.
Yeah, well, that's all I try to do.
You like to strengthen people, which is a good thing.
I try to empower them. I try to help them get through the stuff. But there's also been situations where, like, I know, not specifically with me, but I know other trainers who've had to, like, part ways from clients because their relationship got too close and they were like in an unhappy marriage, and all of a sudden they're falling for their trainer.
Damn.
Because you got to remember, like, you're going through a lot of stuff, so you're really just you're changing. If you're losing all this weight, you're doing all this stuff to better yourself.
So are you saying that some trainers have to battle that? Like,
sometimes, I mean, it depends on who you are. Not everybody, and it's not necessarily like
because you're also not an ugly guy.
Yeah, but it all depends on the person, exactly. Right? Like it really does depend on the connection. Some people, and it's nobody's fault, right? Like, you can't fault someone for like all of a sudden generating feelings or something, because like if you're changing your life and this person's helping you get there, it's not hard to feel some type of way about them, and it may not be like romantic per se, but you have a strong feeling of like you care about that person. Like, a lot of my clients, I know, like we're friends. They're not my clients, like so. Our relationship has changed from, okay, I'm going to help you get in shape, to now, like, we actually have a long-term relationship. I know about their family. They know about my family. So on
exactly.
And so forth, right?
And so, one time, and people are like, yo, you can't be saying that when I talk about this stuff. Let me tell you something about HIPAA laws when it comes to the ambulance, all right? And this is a little deep, but I don't care, because so many people ask me about this, and it's like, you know what? I'm not an irresponsible, immature dummy. I know what I'm doing. So when I tell you stories about EMS, fire, whatever, as long as you don't say no names, you can't tell people's names and stuff like that. If you want to tell stories and stuff like that, that's fine.
Yeah.
But this goes along to what you were saying. Sometimes we gotta play mind coach. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say psychiatrist like Curtis said, but mind coach. Sometimes you gotta play. So I had this dude one time, and he was going through it, and he's looking at me in a uniform. At first he accused me of working with the police, and you're gonna tell the police everything, and we're not that. I like the police I work with, but we're not that, and all this stuff. But to get to the nitty gritty, he looked me in the eye and said, "You don't know what it's like to have parents that are on pills and worry about your parents constantly every night. I bet you live in a big house. Your parents is all healthy, stuff like that." And I said, "My brother, are you serious?" You know what I mean? In my head, I would never say that to a patient. You got to console these people. So I said, "Look, man, you couldn't have landed yourself in an ambulance today with a more understanding person with the situation that you are in right now."
Yeah.
Because I won't get into details, but what he said, almost to a T with what I had to deal with. I'm still dealing with stuff like that, but it's more health issues. This is why I live here and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And we worked the whole way to the hospital. We didn't hold hands and nothing like that, because I hold hands with some patients, but usually it's an older female, like an elderly patient, something like that. You want to, some people, why are you holding their hand, stuff like that. I'm like, don't ask me that shit. Don't ask me why I'm going the extra mile. Because if you ain't going the extra mile, what the fuck are you doing here, right? Now, I don't mean to get like, I didn't even mean to curse like that, but damn, sometimes it gets me wild. So
it matters to you.
Exactly. I'm passionate about this stuff. So I'm going, this is just going along with what, Curtis said. We're on the way to the hospital of Framingham, and he said that, and I said what I just told you, and I said, you could talk to me. Come on, bro. and I told him a little bit about my past. I got personal with him. By the time we was at the hospital, we had to put him in an area where, you know, there's not normal patients and stuff like that. He's got to be monitored and stuff like that, you know. Unfortunately, he was handcuffed to the stretcher, it broke my heart because he was going through it. The situation was over. He wasn't gonna, I'm gonna flip out and kill these EMTs. Nah, man. So, but it's protocol, you know what I mean? So they had to do what they had to do. Long story short, I go to leave, you know, we're packing up. I did the report, whatever, we go to leave, and he goes, hey, man, you staying, right? And I'm like, I can't stay here, like, you know, but I gave him my a card or whatever, gave him my number and stuff like that, and he said, hey, man, is what you said true? And I said, what do you mean? What part? And he said, all of it. That really happened to you? And I said, bro, come on, man. And I said, I promise you, man. And he felt a little better, and I said, he's not going to give you guys any problems, because he got to talk. A lot of people ain't willing to do that. They don't want to talk, and it's...
Yeah.
So once you talk to people, but...
Yeah, sometimes they don't have, like, it's like, that's part of, you know, the training too, is when they have someone that's not directly connected to their life, and like,
yeah, they're like, what do you know?
Well, not only that, like, sometimes that's very true, but even so, when they're not directly connected, or I'm not directly connected to their life, sometimes it makes them feel a little bit better about having the conversation.
Exactly.
Because now there's no judgment, there's no possibility of it getting back to the significant other or anything like that, because one, I would never betray a client like that, or tell their business, but also too, it's just like, I don't even have the connection, right? So it gives them that, like, oh, I get to let all this shit out, and I no one's gonna judge me. It just is what it is, right? Like, I can have a conversation with another human and not have to think too much about it.
Bro, all right. So I got another question for you. That's what this is all about, right? So, you know about the machine I got, right? That's in the other room? It's kind of like a Bowflex deal.
Yeah.
All right. So, I could ask you this. Hear me out real quick. I was like, you know what? It's called like the XP something 350, something like that. You know, the fucking Power Man 5000, whatever the hell it is. Yeah. But I went on some site because I'm like, I want to know if people use this thing. And then, so some dude asked, yo, I got the opportunity to pick it's the Parabody X350. He's like, I got the opportunity to pick this thing up for free. Should I do it? And then mad people were like, yeah, pick that up. Definitely. That's a good ass deal for free. Are you kidding me? Things like that. But then there's people like in there like, oh, I'm a personal trainer. I can tell you right now it's not going to do shit for you. And it's like a machine that has weights and all these things. Why is he saying that?
Well, I mean, it all depends, right? Like, again, right back to, it all depends on what the goal is for each individual, on what you're actually doing, right? But the idea is a lot of trainers don't love machines if it's not for an elderly person, because the machine just isolates, right?
Yeah.
So the machine doesn't get you to recruit your full body in the movement. So you don't have to learn how to stabilize with your core or do anything like that when you're sitting down and doing whatever the hell it is, a chest press or, you know, something like that.
All right, so
what's up?
I have the unmistakable ability to make this man laugh at any given time. So if we burst out laughing anytime, sorry. But, man, what was I gonna say? So for a fat, chubby dude, I'm not fat, but you know, I've been really getting in great shape from lifting patients.
Yeah.
Patients love to be big for me for some reason. So I've been really feeling my forearms and stuff like that. But you know, not anything like this dude is like. CJ looks really great. But for a dude like me, is that something that you could start with, that you could be sufficient with?
Absolutely. And that was going to be my next point. It's like anything is beneficial, right? So again, that's a trainer who's probably not been doing it for that many years and is stuck in their ways.
There's a few of them though, Curtis.
Yeah, but so there's a lot of trainers out there, right?
That's
so,
true. That's true.
The way you got to look at it is like, the more you learn about health and fitness, the more you realize like anything is sufficient, right? Like if I get someone to walk a mile a day after not doing anything, I'm gonna be pumped, right?
That's
like
what I thought.
Because all it is moving forward, right? So if you are like, I won't do anything but sit on that machine. Then sit on the machine and get in the flow, right? Because at the end of the day, if we get you in the flow and you're like, oh man, I'm getting a little bit of muscle, or I feel a little stronger, and maybe I look a little better, or whatever the case is, if it gives you the motivation to do something else, like that's huge in itself, right? So
here's the thing, you know what? And this is fucking great that you're here, because I can ask you this now. This was their argument, okay? And they said, you know, some people were like, fuck that thing, you're dumb. I wouldn't take that shit if it was less than free, dog. I wouldn't buy it I wouldn't buy that deal if it was on sale. So, but they were saying, and this is why, because you might be able to, if you get on a steady flow with the machine, you can only max out at so much, and then they're like, then what? You can't really exceed after that. And I'm like, but can't you, I'm thinking, and then this is what I'm asking you, can you not maintain whatever you do? I mean...
Well, yeah, you can. So
whatever you're doing at the time, so people listening can specifically understand what I'm asking? Like...
Yeah, no. You absolutely can... You absolutely can maintain whatever level you get to, right?
Like not everyone wants to get...
Yeah, you can change rep ranges. You can... The thing is, like, the body's an amazing machine, and, like, we're literally built to adapt. Right. So, they're right. At a certain point, it's only going to get you so much.
This dude was like, after the summer, you're going to be maxed out and say, F this machine.
But so what? Because at the end of the day, that's the whole point, is like, hopefully the machine gets you motivated to do some other stuff. And then every so often, on a day where you just want to go through some motions, like, you can hop back on that machine and still do some more with it, right? Like, you don't have to, like, be like, oh, I did it for 3 months, I'm packing it up and tossing it out, right? Like, that's not... necessary. At the end of the day, you can modify, you can change things to make it work, and at the very least, you could just use it for like maintenance work, like you said, just like higher the rep range. If you can bang out 10 consistently for a while, and you're like, okay, let me try to do 15 on a couple sets, let me try to do 20, or whatever the case is, right? And like, just go from there. It doesn't necessarily have to be one size fits all.
And here's my motherfucking thing: if you got people on, like, you are established, you are official. You know, I'm waiting for you to go to the next level. I saw you in a video that you posted. That shit was official, dude. And I was like, yo, this dude is really taking it to the next level. I really enjoyed that. But, and maybe we could have some sort of plug where you could share that or something. But my thing was, yo, so, and I knew that'd be the answer, and I don't do this shit. So for me to have my dude here and tell me that, yeah, you're right. Like, what are these dudes talking about? They're basically telling people, don't take that for free and don't work out. What kind of, that's why I said watch out for the fakes and stuff. What kind of trainer are you if you're telling people not to work out? What if he was going to say, yo, then I'm not going to do nothing, period.
Exactly.
And you just, like you just said, so that's a good answer then. So what you're saying is, you know, something is better than nothing?
Absolutely. And you got to be careful, because you got to, like, there's a lot of people who go a bunch of different routes. I mentioned earlier I wasn't big into school, right? So I I don't have an exercise science degree.
And it ain't like we dumb, because I wasn't that big in school neither, and I'm on the fire department, so don't get it twisted.
Exactly. And like, I mean, I was a knucklehead and didn't want to apply myself, and whenever I took tests or did essays or anything, I got A's. Like, it has something to do with that. I was just stubborn, right?
No, you're a smart dude, definitely.
But at the end of the day, it's like, other people are going to school for exercise science degrees. Yes. And they're doing 4 years, and they're getting taught a bunch of, in my opinion, incorrect information to an extent, right? Like, it all depends. Like, school is good for, like, the hard nose. Here's some anatomy. Here's like the shit.
Anatomy's fun, though.
Yeah. And that, right? Like, so,
the
like
basic anatomy.
So there's some stuff in there that's actually like legitimate. But go try to teach anatomy to any client, and they're gonna be like, "Peace out, bro." Like, I'm not,
especially if it's advanced.
Yeah, I'm not. They're like, I'm not. No, I'm all
basic anatomy's fun. The hip bone's connected to the.
Yeah.
Whatever the hell it is. You know what I mean?
but even so though, like even people who want to know anatomy don't really want to know that much. Like they think they do.
They think they do.
And then
right.
you start getting into it, and they're
Wait
like,
till I put you in this A&P course, brother. Like, what's A&P? Oh, wait, yeah, anatomy and physiology. Okay.
And then they're like, yeah, I really don't give a shit.
You lost me right at physiology. It's like, well, that's what it's called.
Totally, right? So that you have to remember, like those people. Unfortunately, like that school and degree gives you some feeling of like, I don't want to sound mean, but like entitlement. We see it all the time. There's a bunch of, you know how many times I talk to high level coaches that are doing their thing, like you talked about, kind of like celebrity coaches, so to speak. And they're like, I don't care how many certifications you have. I don't care how many degrees you have or what's going on. At the end of the day, all that really matters is like, can you coach? Can you build a relationship? And can you get results, right? Because me and my boss are I'm pretty sure we're the only 2 out of 6 people at our job because we're a small niche studio. Neither of us have degrees. All of our coaches are amazing. I feel like we kill it. We do an awesome job. But for example, me and him are 2 guys that don't have degrees, and we are clearly excelling. He owns a business. Like I'm growing, and I'm definitely doing so much better than ever before. But that's because I'm practicing my craft, right? Like I went to a school dedicated to personal training. I've been taking seminars ever since. I'm constantly re-educating myself, and I have a couple extra certifications, precision nutrition, and I'm a level 1, about to get level 2, and so on and so forth. So there's like some credentials that are like,
did I not call you a nutritionist earlier?
You did, but technically I'm not a nutritionist, right? That requires a legitimate degree, so I can't degree, so I can't say I'm a nutritionist.
You're an enthusiast right now.
But yeah, but at the end of the
still great, though.
Yeah, exactly. But at the end of the day,
a little more than that probably.
Yeah, at the end of the day, there's other things you can do to accredit yourself and have a legit, name and be good at your craft. Like it doesn't have to be education. The unfortunate downfall is a lot of times when you're fresh out of school and you're taught all this stuff in textbooks, you think like that's it, right? Like it's easy to like be stuck in that train of thought, and unfortunately, like that backfires a lot of times at first. For the first couple years, they say like a trainer's average is like you last like something like 2 years or something, and if you
in the field,
and if you get past 2 years, then you're like technically like you got some longevity and you're doing well, because most people don't last that long because they get in it, they think it's an easy job, and then they start doing it and they realize, holy crap, like I constantly have to learn, I constantly have to get better. In my opinion, you're never really an expert until you realize like you're a lifelong learner, right? Like once you realize like I'm constantly going to be learning more and doing more all the time, until you realize that, then you're going to have a rough time.
So, what about steroids? That's a very... Do you have people that have ever came to you and you're like, yo, I can't help this dude. He's obviously doing something. Like,
no. I'm definitely like general pop baby boomers. Like I don't really. I know.
Oh, all right. So you mess with the like people that are like, you know what? I kind of wanted to give this a shot,
and I want to get a little. Yeah, I want to get in a little bit of shape. And
you don't got dudes that are like, I want to maintain and. This is what I am now.
I've had 1 or 2, but like but most of the time I'm like, honestly, to be like,
what a shitty spot.
As a professional, you have to realize when you can help someone and when you can't too. And hey, if you want to do steroids or whatever, like not necessarily condoning it, but I'm not telling you you're wrong either, right? Like to each his own. You do what you want to do. But at the end of the day, I don't have experience with that stuff, so I can't really help.
Because I heard Joe Rogan, and he was like, you know what, roids are bad, UFC, because you really hurt someone, this and that. But he's like, what the fuck, Barry Bonds and all them at the baseball. He's like, was baseball not boring if these dudes weren't doing it? But anyways, I just had to ask you about that. We're 8:08. So, all right, it's been a fucking great show. We do this thing called current events. I don't know if you want to mess with that. Sometimes I go through, current things in the news here, and we just kind of talk about it.
Dude, you'd have me totally lost.
Do you have anything that, like a message or anything like that you want to tell people about trying to maybe get in shape and stuff like that? I mean, is diet... Because people are like, yo, I want to do this. I'm willing to work out. I'm willing to even run every day. but I'm not gonna stop eating cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
I mean, that's a super loaded question, right? Like it takes a lot to try to change someone's mindset around health and nutrition, right? But at the end of the day, you gotta, like we talked about, you gotta start somewhere, and hopefully maybe you working out more consistently motivates you to think about not eating cheeseburgers 5 days a week, and you do it 4 days a week, and then maybe 3 days a week, and right, like you slowly cut down, because nutrition's important, right? At the end of the day, we all want to be healthy and feel good as we grow older, right? So like moving weight is one portion of it, but nutrition is just as important. I'd say they're equal.
But some people would say, "Hey, I gotta eat this disgusting shit to become."
Yeah, well,
you know what I mean.
I would just tell them like, get a cookbook, like get creative,
yeah.
Right? So like people don't realize
there is some
like,
good stuff,
dude. You can make some healthy stuff taste phenomenal,
right?
So like, that's just like unfortunately. A little bit of fear is built based on that, right? Like when you are like, oh man, I gotta revamp my lifestyle and be like totally different, right? Like who wants to just be like, yep, I gotta change because I'm not good enough right now, right? Like that just doesn't that doesn't sit well in your mind. But at the end of the day, and I'm not saying you're not good enough. Whoever wants to get in shape. All I'm saying is like that's a natural thought. Like whenever someone's like I got to figure out how to get better or healthier and so on and so forth, that means they're doing something wrong in their mind. And so that like I talk about it with clients all the time where it's like you've got an inner voice kind of going on, and you got to really listen to what that's saying. And a lot of times it's negative, right? A lot of times it's not positive, and it pushes you in the wrong direction. So anytime you tell someone or they're trying to convince themselves of that, there's a lot of resistance with that. So you just got to figure out, you got to take it step by step. So to try to keep it as short as possible with my clients, it's like we figure out one small thing at a time, and we just like work on that for a couple weeks and lock it in, whether it's drinking more water, whether it's eating one extra vegetable a day, whether it's literally just sitting down and being mindful and like taking 5 minutes to just like chill so you can de-stress, right? It can be anything, but one small thing at a time is the best way to go. It's when people bite off too much to chew that they have an issue, right? Like,
and one of the hardest things for people to get involved in the shit, they don't know how to put one foot in front of the other. Same with me. I want to do this stuff in the thing. I was reading that, it threw me off, and I mean I gotta tighten something on the machine anyways, but what's a good, I got one or two more questions before we get up out of here. There ain't much current events this week anyways. We haven't talked much about Halloween. I am going to say UFC, I think 219 is coming up tonight, Home vs. Cyborg, and I'm going to be watching that at 10 live, so everybody tune into that too. But for people who want to get into this stuff and they're shy, they don't want to work out in front of people, they don't want you to see how weak they are, right? Because that's a big thing. They don't want to go in front of this huge guy who's he got all these certifications, and you're really good at what you do. You can lift a lot of weights. You can run fast. I've seen you do, these competitions, jump from hurdle to hurdle. People are like, I'm not going to go with my flabby butt and be like, hey, what do I do? Like, what's a good advice for them to come forward?
I wish I had like an answer that everyone was gonna be like, oh man, I'm gonna go find a trainer tomorrow, right? Like, unfortunately, I don't. At the end of the day,
my gossip ass was looking for that too. I'm like, yeah, you gonna tell?
Yeah. Unfortunately, right? Like you gotta. At some point, something will click. You'll find the motivation, and hopefully, you find trainers with our mindset. Like I work for a place called, I've alluded to them a couple of times, Rebirth Body Transformation Center out in Wakefield. Every single coach in there is gonna make you feel like you can do it, like you can, awesome. Like you can get better, and like wherever you are doesn't matter because you're here and you're starting, right? And like,
there you go.
If you can find someone like that to help you get past, then it's gonna be a lot easier. And I'm not saying it's gonna be easy, quote unquote, but it'll seem more realistic for you to really take on that big endeavor because you're right, it's challenging and it's intimidating to a lot of people, but you have to find the right support.
Damn. All right, man. Well, wow. So this is kind of why we're going to end it in probably a couple minutes, because I got this bitch-ass, Mark-ass computer. Nah, so I told it on the last show, too. I got the computer refurbished just because, you know, I'm trying to do these podcasts and whatever. We've been getting some blue screen messages, so the last thing I want is for a blue screen message to pop up after this amazing interview from Curtis Williams. Do you have, before we get out of here, do you have any plugs, anything like that? Where can people find you? And are you open? Like, can people message you and say, hey, you know what? I kind of want to get into this personal training thing. Do you want to help me out? Because CJ's in the Boston area, so.
Yeah. So
Boston, Massachusetts. I mean, everybody knows that.
But. Yeah, so I actually took a little break from social media. So, like, Curtis Williams on Facebook.
You'll be back?
I'll probably be back at some point. I don't know when.
If people ask me, like, yo, dude.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I'll leave my email on there.
Okay. Right.
You can email me at.
I'll put it. Keep saying it. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can email me at cwilliams89@gmail.com. Instagram is artofcoaching_89. You're probably not going to see a ton of posts right now because I'm just trying to chill and like focus on bettering myself and not worry about the social media stuff right now. So I'm taking a break from that.
Right.
But yeah, those are kind of the places you can find me. I'm definitely open to help people and talk to them for sure.
Any upcoming like projects, anything like that? I know you got something big coming in a couple of years, but
yeah, yeah. I mean, nothing real direct except absolutely, yeah.
They can't see video, but I'm staring at you right now.
Yeah.
Me and CJ been yo, shout out to your motherfucking father, dog.
Yeah.
And your mother. Like, CJ's got a great family, and ADV advocate. I would love to have him on. Do you think he would come on here?
Yeah. I mean, absolutely.
He's such a great artist.
Yeah.
And I feel like if he would just let somebody put him out there. But anyways, dude.
No. I would, reach out, man.
We'll talk to him and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
ADV advocate. My man Curtis's brother over here, we do a lot of music and stuff, and they're so amazing, but the right people need to hear it, and it's not like big people need to hear. I'm saying people that enjoy music need to hear it because they're good people. But I'm not going to do no current events this week. This isn't going to be a Halloween episode this week. Anyways, there's no news really for Halloween anyways. This has been so great that I want to just end it, because if I get a blue screen and something like that and we lose all that, yeah, I'm saying my man's a personal trainer, and I don't want him to yoke me up, throw me out the motherfucking window. I had a good Christmas and shit, so I like the shirt I'm wearing and stuff like that. Nah, man. Dude, it's been so awesome having you on here.
Thanks,
this conversation was amazing, and the funny thing is I've known CJ since we were kids.
Yeah.
And this is the most amazing conversation I've ever had with you. And now that we're both matured and adults and we can sit here and talk like this, man, it's been great. So
yeah, man.
Anything you want to say, go ahead, man.
Yeah, no, it's been great. I appreciate you having me on. I guess the only thing I'd add is, like, again, obviously I know we want to cut it short a little bit, so I won't go into like
sorry, do what you got to do. If it goes blue screen though and you talking, don't get mad.
That's on me. I'll try to keep it as short as possible, but like, the one thing I will say is, like, if you are on the fence at all with health and fitness and you're not sure like how to start or whatever, like, again, feel free to ask some questions, but just jump in somewhere, right? Like, see what works for you, because at the end of the day, there's a million different things out there and something will work for you. But like, coming from someone who I personally feel like fitness actually saved my life.
Yes,
like,
that was what the title of the shit was. Why is fitness gonna save your life?
I have to say, like,
people don't think it's important.
No, well, it's huge, and I'm not even. People don't realize, like, in high school I was like a $145, like soaking wet, $150 maybe, right? Like, so right now I'm like 190. So I didn't have to necessarily lose weight. I put on a lot of muscle and I worked hard, but that's not why fitness saved my life. Like, I was doing dumb shit.
Lifestyle.
I was doing dumb shit, getting arrested, fighting all the time.
And when you have a better mind,
you know what I mean? Like, and I was a very angry.
And let me tell you something. Me and CJ used to get down.
Yeah.
All right. Loads. I'm not even trying to incriminate. Loads of CJ got his window shot out one time. It's people think where we are is some F-boy stuff, and it's really not. I mean,
that's
me and you've been in it, and that's why I said earlier that where you came from, it was almost like me and, X is going to be a fireman, and CJ is going to be, get out of here.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, exactly, man. It's been great.
But that's what I mean, though. Like, even my dad the other day was like, dude.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out to the pops. Nah, but like, we just bought a house this summer, and we had, like, a second Thanksgiving, and my dad's sitting at my kitchen table, and he's like, dude, I just want to tell you, like, how proud I am of you. He's like, no bullshit. Like, at one point, I wasn't sure, like, were you going to be in a cell, or were you going to, like, figure shit out, or what was going to happen, right?
Yeah,
so, like,
we did some bad things.
Yeah, so, like, the fact that my dad was like, I just really want to acknowledge that and say I'm proud of you is big. So, like, for me, lifting weights, like, helped me with my anger, helped me with my anxiety, helped me with my confidence, and, like, it really changed a lot for me. So it's like I said, guys, if you're on the fence, if you're even considering it, just dive in, figure it out, right? And at some
this
point,
is coming from one of the dudes who never played no games, bro. This dude right here, junior game. He reminded me of it, like he was never playing no games. So, to see where he came, but that's again why I say he's came so far, because now you're a business professional. Now you taking on clients, and you're saving lives. I might be on the ambulance and stuff. I never tell people I'm saving lives. People never tell me I'm saving lives. I'm on a little rinky-dink fire department.
But that's what you're doing, though.
Exactly. But you know what I mean? That's why I'm saying don't ever count nobody out. If somebody says they're saving a life, look into that shit. See why they said that. Don't just say, he's just lifted. They're not saving lives. Yeah, they're saving lives. So,
yeah, man.
All right, man. Again, last thing I want this thing to do is bug out. So, CJ.
Hey.
Only I could call him that. It's Curtis Williams on Facebook, and he might be back soon. He might not, but I highly recommend him as a personal trainer, because he's got a lot of great advice, and he looks great. So if you want to look like he does, and like you said, a diet is a big part of it. So everybody just be aware. Don't mess with the wrong people. Don't let people tell you that you can't do it, because that's a big part of it.
Yep.
If you're hyped up. And if I'm hyped up, before we get out of here, I'm hyped up and I say, I'm going to go to Curtis and I'm going to have him train me. Just because we were going to do that for the fire test and stuff like that. We'll still figure something out.
Yeah.
If I go to you and say that and then I post it on Facebook like, I can't wait. I got Curtis coming. I'm doing this. And then people are like, dude, for real? You were never going to do that. What I'm saying is, don't let people tell you that. Curtis has already told you tonight. Don't let people tell you that. If you want to jump into it, just jump in.
Yep. You got to believe in yourself.
But before we get out of here, one more minute. I want you to tell them, where could you jump in at, though? Like, what's a good step? Just doing weights at home or watching your diet real quick?
I mean, it's hard to tell. Whatever you think you're more comfortable with, right? Like, so if I had a solid answer, I would definitely give it to you.
All right, my bad. Yeah, that's on spot. I'm like, go quick.
It has
to. It's $1 million question.
Yeah, right. But it has to be whatever you're most comfortable with. And if you need to, like, start just walking every single day consistently, start there, right?
All right.
And it can be as small as possible. You just have to find something to be consistent with.
You just got to push.
That'll be the difference maker.
If you want to start working out and you can't get rid of them cheeseburgers, start working out and work on the cheeseburgers after, like Curtis told you earlier.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Thank you so much. We're going to get out of here before this computer does some F-boy stuff.
Hey, it was a pleasure, man. Thank you.
Awesome, man. Everybody, 45 Lampkin Lane. Next time I come on, we'll have more Michael Myers for you, but we're going to keep this show neutral. Peace.